Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Got Cheated and Inherited Powers of Basara Tojo movie. Before we start, please go support KingCrownedClown for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. The girls decided to talk to me after Kyoto. They were confused and decided it would be better to go out with other people, so breaking my heart. After that, I left for several months, where I discovered my roots and a power that was inherited from me, capable of surpassing a deity. During that time many things happened that I wouldn't change for anything, not even for them. Prologue. It's been a few days since the events in Kyoto, and I've noticed the girls are further away from me than usual. I don't know what's going on, but it worries me now. They don't sleep with me anymore, and I know something bad is going to happen. Today is another day at school and another day where I feel sadder. Not feeling their warm hugs makes me feel sad. I wake up as usual, there's no one by my side, and that depresses me. Bucho doesn't call me her cute pawn anymore, and the others no longer have that feeling of being by my side, and if they do, I feel like they do it out of pity. Today Rias called me to the club room, and I feel like nothing she says will be good, but well, every man must face reality. That's what my father Jean Hayatu told me. I'm arriving at the room where everyone is there. Rias tells me to sit down. No one is by my side, everyone is in front of me. Something's wrong, Bucho, I said, and Rias started to talk. Issei, you must have noticed that for days now we've all been strangers to you, right? I nodded, and the truth is that we are confused about our feelings towards you, and the best thing would be to end our relationship, said Rias, and the others said the same thing she said. I lowered my gaze in a sign of sadness. Issei, we are sorry. That's what I said. There is someone else, right? And nobody said anything. I see. Did you two know? Kiba, Gasper, and they bowed their heads. I see. I got up from there and left. They tried to stop me, but Rias told them that she needed time. I left there very sad. At that moment I received a phone call. Well, hello Issei. Dad, who else? Something happened, I said while wiping my tears. Yes, I need to talk about it in private. Come to the house. Okay, and I got out of there. A little while later, or rather, a couple of hours late. So we come from a village of heroes where you and I were exiled for such a mess I made when I lost control. That's right, his father said calmly. And my supposed mother is a hero who only watches over us to give details to the village. And you blocked my memories and appearance so they wouldn't look for me and I could live a quiet life. Exact. I believe you, I said. I didn't believe in demons a long time ago. I shouldn't believe this. PFFF. And why are you telling me this now? But then my dad touched my head and hugged me. I'm sorry about this. Hey. At that moment, I felt myself losing consciousness, and a light enveloped me. And I received many memories from my childhood. A couple of days later, I asked permission in the underworld to go on a trip to think things over. I spoke with Rias's parents, and broke off my engagement to her. I left the protection in the hands of Rias's family. Ravel was no longer my priority, now it's hers. Her parents apologized for having a daughter who doesn't know what she wants. The Mao authorized my temporary departure. I spoke with the Juka and they blocked my signal from the evil pieces, and they told me that if they needed me they would activate my pieces and I should go to the underworld to help as soon as possible. And I accepted. As I left, Zerzek hugged me and said, I'm sorry my stupid sister did this to you. Now I can't call you brother anymore. While crying comically, he cried. This wasn't seen by anyone, since it would ruin his reputation as a Mao. I patted him on the back and said, thanks Anai-san. But I'm done for. That's why I'm leaving. To clear my feelings and also to train. As I touched my hand, which was stained with innocent blood, and I left there. See you Anai-san. When I got out, I covered myself with a cloak and began to change into my true form. I walked and said, we're leaving. My son. I lit a cigarette. We started walking as we disappeared from the scene. To be continued. This will be a one-shot of about or chapters. There will be broken hearts Gremories. Until next time, back to Qua. Days have passed since Issei left to train, and also to clear his heart for the breakup he suffered for all the girls of the Gremory clan, and we have felt guilty since then. Now we just want you back. We didn't know exactly what was going on in our hearts. We should never have doubted. And it's so typical. You leave and void in our hearts. Besides, neither the Mao nor Rias's parents have told her that their engagement has been cancelled, as it would have been a huge blow to them and the others. And even more so, knowing that she was gone for several months made them sad. The council hadn't accepted it, but the Mao Lucifer made them understand, or rather, he refreshed their memory of what it feels like when someone you love has left you or betrayed you for someone else. And they understood better since Tannen told them about the pain a dragon feels when abandoned or betrayed by their partner. He told them that a dragon's love is pure and noble, but there are times when we can die of love. So the council members reflected carefully on the boy and decided that it was better for him to stay away from them. And with that, they broke off their engagement and accepted it, and now they have a better opinion with Issei and the dragons. During the first few days that Issei was gone, the girls decided to do what they had planned to do, and they started going out with boys who spoke nicely to them. But as the days went by, those boys were, or rather, didn't have, the chivalry that Issei had with them. They weren't attentive, nor did they pay attention to them, and if they dressed up for them, those boys didn't say a single compliment to them, anything, and they only remembered him. He always tells us we look beautiful. He makes us breakfast and brings it to us in bed. Maybe he is a pervert, but he always tries to make us happy. When he said those words, those palpitations in their hearts accelerated, and they said, "How could I forget this feeling? This feeling comes to me every time I see him." After that, they all decided to end their relationships with him. When they did, it didn't seem to even affect them. It took them weeks to realize that they love Issei with all their souls. That same afternoon, Rias and the others looked for him, but there was no sign of him. So she decided to look for him for his pawn pieces. But nothing. That alarmed them. They searched for him all afternoon, but nothing. No sign of Issei anywhere. All worried, they went to the underworld to ask the Mao for help. But when they went, the Alliance was there. They wondered why they weren't called. Nobody said anything. They just said it was better to talk. When they came out of the trance, they hurriedly said about Issei. What the Mao told them was that this was going to take a long time. An hour later, Rias was hugged by her parents, Aquino by Baraquil, Kaneko by her sister, Ravel by Razor, Asia, Xenovia and Irina by Michael. They were all crying. Why didn't they tell us? While they burst into tears. We're sorry. But when we saw Issei so sad, it broke our hearts. And to prevent anything from happening to him, it was good to let him go on that training trip, and also, so he could clarify his feelings for you. That left everyone in shock. What do you mean? Each one asked. Issei didn't just leave to train, but also to forget them. That was a bomb for them. No, they lie. Our Issei would never forget us. He loves us, they said in tears. Girls, understand. You yourselves told him that you didn't love him anymore. How do you think he felt at that moment? That feeling you feel right now, he felt it worse. But Issei will surely understand. Zerzek raised his hand and said, "He's not a toy you can just walk up to and say, 'You've thought better of it, and it would be better to go back.' Girls, understand. A man's heart is also sensitive to rejection." Nobody said anything. "I'm sorry, girls, but I can't accept your request to look for Issei. I'm sorry, but the meeting is over." And they all retreated. Odin took Ross. Razor took Ravel away. Baraquil saw Aquino and knew she was a bit unstable emotionally. He wouldn't leave her alone again. So he took her. Michael took Irina because any bad thought would make her fall. Kuroka couldn't take Kaneko with her because she was in an organization, and she couldn't risk her, so she left her in Isaka's care. So Rias, Asia, and Xenovia would stay in the underworld under the care of the Gremory patriarchs, so they wouldn't do something stupid. And so 2 months passed without any news of Issei. The girls were devastated at not having him. And they all decided that it would be a great idea to skip school for a while. So they were temporarily discharged. They were all sad. One day, Venezuelan got tired of seeing them like that and held a meeting with her son, where she told him to bring the other girls. It was time for a woman-to-woman talk. That same day, she spoke to them and told them they looked pathetic. What would Issei say if he saw them like that? When he heard his name, they reacted. So he said, "Bingo." He made them understand. If he forgot them, the only thing they could do was win him over, show him why he fell in love with them. It won't be the same at first, but he'll see their effort. If you really love him, fight for him, girls. Show him the love you gave him and make him remember why he loves you. After that conversation, which worked, it made them react, and today they wait for their loved one. Meanwhile, in another part of the world, there was a man lying in bed thinking. That's when a figure comes out of the sheets. What do you think it's based on? He reacts and says, "Not only that, I'm happy to have them by my side, and I'm just happy, that's all." he said with a smile. At that moment, several figures come out of bed, and they say, "We love you and you know it. We would never leave you. We know what we want." "Girls," said Basara Issei with a smile, and he starts kissing each one, and they all throw him on the bed. A little while later, after doing little things, Basara gets up and sees them all asleep and smiles. He looks at Mio and says, "How did they come into my life?" And he takes his cheek and Mio wakes up and says, "That's because now we are one. I love you," and starts kissing her, and he lays down next to everyone. At that moment they all gathered around to hug him, and then they all fell asleep. Mio smiles and falls asleep, while fixing his gaze on a photo. "Noma, there was a wedding and they didn't even invite us." The next morning, Basara wakes up because something woke him up. He looks and it was the communicator they gave him for when he had to return. "Something's up. Girls, we have to go back." And they all got serious. "You'll see them again." "Yeah, but that doesn't mean I'm coming back to you. I love you all. No one's going to separate us." And they all come up and hug him, and he says, "Mine, now that we're married." He blushes. "I'll tell you, Anata. It's clear." Basara laughs and says, "Hi," and kisses her. A little while later, "We had a great time here, but it's time to go back." And he begins to walk alongside the others. "Let's go to Kwa." And they leave from there. A bad day for, well, they like it, Issei said to the girls, which when they saw the city quickly they loved it. "We're going to spend the night in a hotel and tomorrow we'll look for our own place." At that point, Maria asks why she doesn't stay at her parents' house. So Issei says they must still be living there, and the best thing would be to keep your distance, which he understood and regretted having touched on that subject. Issei, noticing her concern, caresses her head and says, "There's nothing to worry about. I love you all, and I'll never leave your side. My heart is yours, and no one else's." To which they all blush. They then decide it's best to leave their things at a hotel and take a tour of the city. A little while later, Issei and company were walking around the city. It seems they loved it. "Do you want to go eat?" Issei said. The girls quickly agreed, and they went to a small place they chose. While clinging to Issei, as they passed through the streets, everyone saw how that young man was surrounded and hugged by those beauties at his side, and they only envied him, especially for that redhead with a beautiful body and smile that would make even someone who doesn't love fall in love. The of them smiled. Everything was happiness that no one could ruin. Especially, on the other side of Kwa. "Rias-sama, something's wrong, Akino." I looked at the chessboard. When I got closer I was happy because Issei's pawn pieces were activated. That means Issei is back. I quickly called the other girls to let them know that he's back. A while later, Rias summoned the women who broke her heart. "Something happened, Rias-sama," they all said. Well, they noticed how Rias and Akino had happy smiles. "He's back." "Hey, our Issei returned." "It's a joke, right?" they all said in disbelief. "It's not a lie. Look, his pieces have appeared here in Kwa." And they saw with happiness that it wasn't a lie. "Girls, let's start the plan. Reconquering Issei Hayadu's heart." "Hi," they said with emotion. "This time I will not doubt the love I feel for Issei. So let's go see it." And before they could even ask to make a move, a circle of their family was invoking them, and they started to disappear from there. Underworld, curse. When will they come? Don't worry, Azazel, they will arrive soon. In the meantime, we must finish this. While his body emanated a red aura. "Okay, balance break," said the fallen one, with Issei. He was finishing eating until a distress signal reached him. "Something's wrong," they all said. "Yes, it seems they are attacking the underworld. I must go there." "We will go with you." "Safe," Issei said. "Of course, a wife can't leave her man alone. Remember the good times and the bad. So let's go there, Anata," they all said, and Issei smiled and said, "You are right. As your husband I can't leave you alone either. Let's go." "Hi," and they hugged him while Issei activated a magic circle that would take them to the battlefield. In the underworld, the Citri and Gremory groups were facing a very powerful creature that reached the level of a dragon king, almost a bit on par with a celestial. "Rias, what happened to your pawn? We need his help," Sona said, maintaining a barrier to protect her clan from the creature's attack. "He will come, rest assured." At that, the giant beast began to charge balls of energy that began to attack without mercy. When the last attack hit the two clans, their protective barriers were destroyed, leaving them all injured. When they were about to end their lives, they just said, "I love you, Issei," closing their eyes, waiting for their end. The energy that was directed towards everyone vanished. Something absorbed it. They opened their eyes and there was a chestnut tree with a sword in hand. It seems an ally had arrived, until he decided to speak and just said, "They're fine." That voice. Issei, they all said there. But how is it that? Let's leave the chat for later. There's something ahead of us I must take care of. And he began to walk. At that moment his hair began to turn green, until an armor covered him completely, surprising everyone. But what is that power? Why doesn't he use his balance breaker? The Gremory said. At that Issei shouts, disappear damn it, launching a powerful attack that took the creature, killing it instantly. Issei descended to where his mistress's clan was. Issei deactivated his armor and activated the boss gear, boosting his energy. When he gathered enough energy, it created a barrier. What are you doing, Issei? They all said. I'm healing them and at the same time giving them back their strength, Issei said as he concentrated his power. But Asia can do it, you don't have to. They said no more, because his wounds began to heal quickly and his strength returned, until they could stand up by themselves. When Rias was still on the ground, Issei approached and gave her his hand to get up. Rias looked up and saw Issei had changed a lot, but he hadn't lost that touch of chivalry. She looked him in the eyes and he smiled at her. Let's go, said Issei, extending his hand to his king, so getting up from the ground. But I didn't take my eyes off him. Thanks, Issei. You always save us, said Rias. At that point, Xenovia approaches and says, Issei-kun, that sword I saw was amazing. Could you lend it to me? Xenovia said with stars in her eyes. But Issei said, I'm sorry, but no one but me can unsheath it, thus shattering his hopes. Or I see. And they all approached him to thank him. But Rias interrupted. Issei, what was that power? And everyone set their sights on Issei. What? Issei said, I'm sorry, but it will be another time. Well, you see, I just got back from my trip and I'm tired. They all understood and said, right, let's go home. Issei-kun, we'll make your favorite meal, Akino said. Irina, Ravel and Ross, I'll prepare the bath for you, Asia said. I'll make you sweets, senpai, said Kaneko. I've been waiting to sleep next to you again, said Rias with a blush. Issei stepped away from them and said, sorry, but I think you misunderstood. But I'm staying at a hotel. They all said. But we thought you came back for us, girls. That's why I left. To get over my love for you and get over my pain. Or did you forget that you broke up with me to go out with other people, Issei said. That shut them up. But Issei, we love you. I'm sorry, girls. You may feel that way, but I don't anymore. You left me and I suffered all this time, and it was very difficult for me to get over you, Issei said, a little crestfallen. Issei, but we. Leave it like that, laugh. The voice of the Mao who had just arrived was heard. Aniasama. Sorry, Issei. Thanks for coming to help us, you and your group. Group, they all said there. What a group, Aniasama, said Rias. That one over there, pointing to a group of beautiful women and a redhead almost identical to Rias. What does this mean, Issei? Rias and company said angrily. So the group walked to Issei. Are you okay? They all said, yes, I am. How did it go for you? Same with Issei. But Mio was very worried about you. And there was Mio behind them, a little nervous. PSS, there were his exes. What's up, Mio, said Issei, approaching, but Mio runs towards him and he kisses her. And everyone there stares. Especially. What does this mean, Issei? Rias said, raising her aura. So Mio separates himself and looks at her and approaches her and says, you must be the one who broke her heart, damn. Confrontation between redheads, he said. Mine calmly. And Rias only saw her as an enemy. Both of them stand face to face. And Rias says, and you must be the thieving cat trying to take my man away from me. And my man laughs. Your man? How ridiculous. You'll say my man. And they both look at each other. And then the other members join Rias, who only watch the others. The others are not far behind and support me. Watching the others. Kaneko and Ravel look at Maria. Asia, Xenovia and Irina look at Kurumi. Akino and Ross watch Cest and Yuki. A pitched battle was approaching, but the Mao decides to take them before something bad happens. Mio and the others hug Issei, while the Gremory girls puff out their eyes. They may have won the battle, but we'll be the ones who win the war, Rias said. And mine just says, we won't leave Issei alone. It's clear, Rosita, and that only made her angry. That's what you think, Rosita? Mio only got mad about Rosita. Let's go, Issei. I called Rias before leaving. Tomorrow I'll see you at the club. That's an order. And they all left, while they looked at their new enemies. Jealousy, why? Issei didn't say anything. Mio and Rias declared war on each other. So did Maria, Yuki, Kurumi and Zest. With the others, she didn't say anything. Because women understand each other. But I've already freed myself from that love. Now I love them. If I could go back in time, I would only change having fallen in love with them. And I would focus more on them, while thinking about that night where they and Issei gave themselves for the first time. What beautiful moments. You don't believe it, Drake. You're right, Ibu. They love you and I see that they've never doubted it. Yes. Hey, I'm sorry to tell you, but you have to wake up now. Right. See you another time, friend. Of course, Ibu. And Issei begins to wake up and feels that there is someone on top of him. When he wakes up, he feels like he is being kissed. Good morning, Issei, Maria said, getting into his shirt while petting Issei. Hey Issei, did you know we have minutes free? Would you like to do something in that time? He said mischievously. And Issei was just stuttering. Well, he knows that if Mio catches them, he'll punish them for doing it without her. Either you share or you get punished. And Issei didn't think well. Well, Maria started to slide down. Maria, what are you doing? Ha, any Issei, why are you resisting if you know what you want or? AAA. Maria, if you continue like this, I won't hold back with you. That's how I like it. And you shouldn't hold back just because she's small. While he continued with his thing, and Maria didn't waste anything. Issei gasped and couldn't hold it in anymore. He took off his shirt and ripped off the few clothes Maria had and placed her on all fours while he watched the beautiful sight of her body. Bit the sheets so as not to make any noise. She stood up and sat on Issei's lap and began kissing him passionately. Like that. Maria's hips moved by themselves. Maria hugged him and said, so Issei mash. Give it all to me. Me too. Maria, I'm about to do it inside me. You know that as a succubus I decide if I want to get pregnant or not. So do it. Maria And Issei came inside Maria, who gave a slight scream. If Issei hadn't kissed her to silence her. A few moments later, Maria was still lying on top of him. Issei, I love you. While I was pampering him and kissing him, Issei stroked her hair and hugged her. And he said, let's stay like this for a while. And they both smiled and kissed. To stay like this. In another part of the world, Rias was having a cup of coffee, and to top it all off, she was in a bad mood. Well, not just her. That damn girl. How dare she? I'll show her who's in charge here. Rias Gremory won't lose to that pink-haired girl. And Issei is mine. He can only touch me and no one else. While a red aura covered her. Butcho, calm down. Kiba said PSSS. It felt like the house was shaking for her and the others. Hour later, Issei was having breakfast with the others. Hey Issei, something happened. He know nothing. Well, screams were heard a while ago, Yuki said, very close to Issei. From under the table, Yuki was very flirtatious with Issei. Then her spoon falls to the floor, and she says, how silly I am. I'll pick it up. And she goes under the table. Yuki, what are you doing? SHHHH. Wait, the others will see us. It feels good. She looks at him and says, sure, they will hear us if you make a noise. As she took it and masturbated. Yuki, if you do. And Yuki took it all. A few moments later. Hello, what are you doing? Said Mio, entering the room. And he sees Yuki and Issei together. Now, what are you doing together? And Yuki says, I was taking some time alone with Issei. While I was hugging him and Mio, he just made a somewhat scary face. And Issei didn't say anything. I better go take a shower, said Issei, leaving there. And Mio stayed with Yuki. And Issei went to the bathroom where it was somewhat large. He undressed and got in. Later they would play. Who is it? Issei said. It's me, Mio. I can come in. Hi, said Issei. And Mio came in while he undressed and went into the bathtub with Issei. And Issei, can I ask you something? What's up, said Issei. Now that you saw them again, you felt something for them, he said a little sadly. If you still love them, I'll understand. And Issei says, Baka, Mio, you shouldn't worry. Maybe I owe a lot to Rias, because she saved me from death and gave me another chance at life. For that I'm grateful. But that's all the gratitude I feel for her, and seeing them again didn't affect me at all. What affects me is seeing you sad about things that happened and will never happen again. You know why? And Mio looks at him. Because I love you, and the rest. And I would give my life for you, Issei said Mio happily. At that they both kiss. I love you too, as she turned around to hug him. I love you, Issei. At that something hits Mio's stomach, and Mio looks at him and says, no, Issei, you would like to cheat on the girls. And Issei starts kissing her very passionately, and doing things in the bathroom. But there are those who did observe this. Maria would be upset if we saw them. It's okay. In fact, Issei and I also did it in the morning, Maria said. Me too. Yuki said she looked like a ninja. Well, nobody saw her when she arrived. Tell if Issei-sama was sleeping, said Zestwing to Kurumi. Kurumi said. Well, everyone did it today with Issei except her, and he just got depressed. While Maria was trying to open the door while carrying her camera, Jijiji, and she was just panting. Meanwhile, with our ex-stars, Rias, calm down, Kiba said. But it didn't work because that idiot Gasper accidentally mentioned Mio, and what relationship he had with his senpai. That was the trigger because Rias exploded in anger and raised his power. Oh crap. Kiba said, while running like a bitch, and cursing Gasper for mentioning Issei and that girl. That made her angry. At that moment a voice appeared and said, "Calm down, ex-daughter." And everyone saw in the distance someone sitting while smoking. He stood up and everyone became alert. And he just said, "How are you girls?" The man greeted. "Who are you and what are you doing here?" Rias said, still angry at having heard the pink-haired girl mentioned. "What am I doing here?" "Well, this is my house." They don't remember me anymore. I am Issei's father." "Tu-san," Asia said. "I'm sorry, Asia-chan, but I can't be your father anymore." "Well, you see, you're no longer my son. It's a shame. I saw you as a daughter. But oh well, what can you do? My son has given me new daughters, and that makes me happy. Well, I think I'm going by, girls. I'll see you at the faction meeting in a week." And the girls were surprised that he knew about that. "Wait, Tu-san," said Asia in tears, and Jean Tuja came out of there while a power covered him, leaving them surprised because it was the same power that Issei showed. One thing is certain, there is a mystery with Issei's family. Who is really Jean Hayadu? And because those women are their new daughters, and because there is jealousy, they didn't tell him. After a while alone in the bathroom, Issei and Mio came out, Mio with a smile, and Issei happy, but for clearing things up with her and regarding Rias Gremory that she along with her other former loves, has already left in the past, and that now she, Yuki, Maria, Zest and Kurumi are the ones she loves. Issei hugs her and says, "That's mine whom I love. Your smile makes me happy." And Mio just blushes and puts more strength into that hug. "I love you, Issei," with a happy tone. At that moment, they both heard voices. Mio twitched, knowing the reason. I let go of Issei and they all fell. Seeing Mio's face, they all ran away. Well, not all of them. Well, Mio reached out his hand to take Maria and speak with her alone. Issei just smiled, because this is the kind of environment he loves the most, or rather, who creates this kind of environment. At that moment a magic circle appeared on his ear. Issei, a woman's voice was heard. "Rias, something happened. I just remind you to show up at the club at noon." In that moment I'm coming back from talking to Maria. And he saw Issei and instantly recognized the symbol that was in his ear. And a somewhat macabre idea crossed his mind. He slowly approached Issei's back. He hugged him and said, "Mu Issei-kun, stop talking and go back to bed." Issei was surprised at what Mio was capable of just to anger Rias. And it wasn't enough because the others joined in and said the same thing. And Rias and the other people who were with her didn't say a word. Kiba runs. And it seems that on the other side of the communicator there was a certain group of women with an extreme Yandere expression. "Mash," Issei spoke, but no one responded. "What happened?" And the girls said triumphantly, "It must be interference." True, but then Issei heard an explosion from his communicator. "Hello, are you there?" But the signal was cut off. At that moment, an explosion was heard outside the hotel. "What happened?" Issei said, and the girls just laughed because they liked having made them angry. While that was happening, somewhere else in a certain house. "What did those bitches say?" Bucho said the girls with scary smiles. Era, I heard them say go back to bed, Issei-kun with even scarier smiles. Or I see, said the redhead raising her aura. Instantly something exploded there. With Issei, the head dressed. Maria had been in charge of finding a house for the of them, so she took care of it, and sent all the luggage to her new house. Oh damn, where did that perverted succubus look for a house? Okay, girls, I have to go with Rias. Well, it seems I have to give a report on my trip and stuff. Go to the house. I'll see you later. At that point, my sister and the others grabbed him from behind and said, "Remember, we would never leave you alone." "They don't trust me," said Issei. "No, we trust you, but not them." Issei smiled and said, "Okay, let's go." A little while later, Issei said, "Rias, we thought you would come alone." "Ito, we came to take care of our Issei from you." Mio said that he was holding Issei's hand and laughing, just seeing that gave him a tick. "Oh, I see. But you knew you were clanless demons and you were in my territory." "We know, Gremory, but we have a clan." "Oh really? And what is it?" "The Tojo clan. Issei is our master, you see." While they showed them the mark that said that it linked them to Issei. "What does this mean, Issei?" they all said. "The thing is, Maria is a succubus and made the servant pact with master and the others. They see him, while he shows them the same mark, but a little different from theirs." Kaneko just looked at Maria with anger because she was on top of Issei just as she would have liked to be, and Akino heard that she said she was a succubus, and she said, "They feed on." She didn't finish because she turned red just thinking about those two doing that kind of things. And Maria said, "You say that succubi feed on semen?" And all the Gremory turned red. "They're right. My race feeds on semen and other things. Oh no, Issei. He, while taking his face, and she kissed him as she threw him to the ground. What do you think you're doing? Rias said, trying to separate Maria from Issei. But it didn't work. When she separates, Maria leaves a trail of saliva and Issei just blushes. I also have this, while he took out his camera and showed it to the other Gremory. Just watching some videos made by them, and Issei fell to the ground with a nosebleed. So Issei-san, Sama, Kun, Senpai is that loving, said each Gremory fainting. Rias and Akino were able to stand, and Akino just imagined Issei smearing chocolate on her body. And Rias came out of that trance and said, Issei, what does this mean? I thought your virginity was mine. Rias sighed. I'm sorry, but you and I are nothing anymore. The only thing that binds us is that I'm still part of your peerage. Just that. But what about our commitment? And Issei said, they didn't tell him to say that. Then inside a magic circle appeared. Zurzek and his parents, Ravel's mother and father, Barakweel and Azazel, Odin, Michael. Hello, greeting Issei to everyone. Issei, let us take care of it, the mouse said. They didn't tell him. No, say that Oniasima, said Rias. Girls, it would be best to go to a more private place. Sorry, Issei. Don't worry, Nizan, I understand. Girls, hi. And Issei left. Where are you going? Let him laugh. But let's go. We must talk in private. And everyone disappeared. Well, it was time to tell them that their commitments were cancelled. What could have been? No, that's not true. He would never have done it. Because, while he cried and hugged his parents, we're sorry, daughter. But the council agreed that your commitments to the security be annulled. No, Issei Senpai Samakun-san, I would never have done that. We're sorry. But we couldn't stop him from breaking off his commitments to you. Because he himself told us in detail that you no longer loved him, and that it would be better to be with someone else. We thought they would no longer be interested in him, and we thought it wasn't fair for him or you to be in a loveless marriage, and we thought it was the right thing to do. Besides, we prevented Issei from dying. Hey, what does it mean that they prevented Issei from dying? They all said it. What the Mao explained to them is that Issei could have contracted an illness because of a broken heart, because of his partner leaving, in which case his partner's. A dragon's heart is pure and noble, and when it truly loves, it will never abandon its mate. It gives its heart to its mate for life. They are so noble that they would die for their mate. That's why dragons are loved and respected. That's what Rias is talking about. Oniasima, why did they do this to me? I love Issei. He leaves and breaks our hearts. Then he comes back, and to top it all off, he starts dating other women that he now loves. And he tells us that he doesn't want anything to do with us anymore. And now they tell me that the only way I could have him no longer exists. Because they did it. Rias, it's better this way. He's happy now. No, he's just upset because we left him. Maybe we did wrong and we've accepted our mistakes, but he left here and found 5 women who are versions of us. He did it to fill the void we left for him. But me, Rias Gremory, while wiping her tears, I'm going to win him back. I'll make him see why he and I belong together. I shouldn't stay here crying. What I must do is conquer him. I love Hayate Issei, and I don't care if I have to fight against those women, if I have to start from scratch, if it takes days, months, or even years maybe. I made a mistake, and only to realize that I love him. I will fight to the death if necessary, said Rias, who walked to her clan to leave. See you, and they left. Venelana smiled, seeing how her daughter thinks that way. She just hopes that Issei opens his heart to her. Even if it's for her daughter, she would pray to God. In the human world. Well, Maria, where is the house? Said Issei, who had his eyes covered. Here it is, as they removed the blindfold from his eyes. And Issei just watched and said, this has to be a joke. Hey, what's wrong? You didn't like the house. It's not that, but where the house is. Hey, look back. Hey, they all said as they turned to see a huge mansion next to their house. What's up with that house? That's my old residence. That means that. That's how it is. Rias's entire entourage lives there. And Mio and the others thought they were walking into the lion's den. But after that they saw Issei's expression change to a calm one. Well, it wasn't your fault, Maria. I've already cleared things up with them. And I guess the leaders must have already told them that. So, there's nothing to worry about. Let's go into the house. We still have to unpack, and we'll have to see tomorrow to transfer to Kwa Academy. And they all smiled and entered the house, while Maria put a plaque outside the house that said Tuja residents, with their respective names. Meanwhile, in another part of the world, a beautiful and voluptuous brunette only thought about the boy who made her feel like a real woman that night. While she remembered that feeling that he left in her. To Basara, she knows him by both names. but she likes that one better. I miss you. Now that I'm done with what I had to do to protect you, I can come back to you. While walking, seeing a place called Kwa. So you spent your childhood here. It's beautiful. I'll see you soon, my love. While walking, molestando a los Gremories. Point 1. It was morning in a beautiful inhabited residence in Kwa. At that point, a yawn is heard. Issei silently gets up, puts on a shirt, and approaches the girls. This kiss first to Yuki, Zest, Maria, then Kurumi, and finally gave her a beautiful and tender kiss that woke Mio up, who when she felt Issei's lips did not hesitate and continued to kiss. Issei reciprocated, and for a few minutes like that, they both separated. It's time, said Issei, at which point the others begin to wake up. Good morning, Issei said to them. Come on. And this one puts on his pants and gets off before them. Issei washed some things and started preparing breakfast for them. Minutes later, the 5 beauties walked down the stairs. A delicious aroma reached them. It smells delicious. The 5 of them went straight to where that aroma was coming from. They looked, and there was Issei serving breakfast to each girl. They were happy, and with hearts in their eyes, they saw Issei with his smile that made their hearts happy. Come sit down. A little while later, today I spoke with Sona Citri and made an appointment to enroll at the academy. And Sirio, SI. But I don't know if we'll be in the same classes. The girls were depressed about it. But it doesn't matter. We will always be together or not. Baka and all of them together throw themselves at him. We love you. Each one proceeded to give him a kiss. They want to take a bath, suggested Issei, and they all carried Issei and went up to the bathroom to do their things. But later, they were already dressed in normal clothes. Let's go, and the of them left the house. Just as they went outside, they ran into the Gremories. Mio, Yuki, Maria, Kurumi, and Zest turned to look at them. Rias, Akino, Kaneko, Asia, Xenovia, Irena, Rossweisse, and Ravel stared at each other. Both groups of women said. So Issei-kun lives next door to here, said Akino with a rather strange smile. Issei only remained as an intermediary in the center of a battle. Rias stared at him. Mio smiled in a macabre way and sensually hugged Issei, putting his face in his neck. The others did the same as me. The Gremories had a twitch in their eye. Just thinking about them gave them a murderous instinct. Issei was in the middle of a war and couldn't think straight. So he did what every apron doesn't do. Without the Gremories seeing, he touched Mio's butt. She was surprised by what he did. Issei approached his ear and whispered, I know what they're trying to do, and it turns me on, biting his earlobe with a simple caress. Issei managed to get everyone excited. Obviously it was not seen by the Gremories. You girls will pay me, he said to each one. Issei learned to use the master-servant mark, so with just one word, they all writhed in pleasure. Issei saw that they were sensitive, so he quickened his pace and said goodbye to his mistress and the others. The Gremories didn't notice when they left, because the fact that they did that to their Issei angered them, so much so that they lost track of time, and thinking about how they caressed him only filled them with anger. They didn't say anything. They would soon have their revenge. With Issei and the girls. Issei, I feel weird. If you don't do something, I'll go crazy, said each of them. If you wake, you will have your reward. So each girl kept her words to herself and went where they were going. A little while later, welcome back, Mr. Hayata, said the director to him and his girls. Issei smiled and they left from there. The girls couldn't take it anymore, so Issei took them to the least suitable place to do so. Right time. Issei, but this is it. Issei made sure there was no one in the infirmary. I take an object and jam it so that no one could come in and see what was about to happen. A little while later, the girls fell asleep. Issei made sure and sent them home using a magic circle. At that, a voice is heard. I must say I'm jealous. Issei saw, and it was Hasegawa-sensei said this, blushing. Era Basara-kun, it's hard for me to see you surrounded by so many girls. That's a bit unfair, don't you think? Edo, shhhh. Don't say more, putting his fingers in his mouth like this. What do you think if we go to my house? Hi. A little while later, and Basara-kun, are you going to tell me what you were doing locked in the infirmary? Eto in a nervous tone. By the way, what are you doing here? I didn't tell you now. I'm the new nurse at the academy. Seriously. Yeah, let's stop talking about that. As he parks outside his house, then she approaches Basara and says, I'd rather do this better, while she seductively approaches him and kisses him. After separating, they both look at each other while blushing. You want to go up? Hi, elsewhere. I can't stand it, Akino. She takes advantage and wants to bother us by doing those things with Issei. Era. Besides that, Succubus showed us that tape where Issei does those things to them. I could see how Issei-kun was well blessed with that part. What does Akino-senpai mean? Said Asia and Kaneko. She comes closer and whispers to them. Hearing that, both of them blew smoke out of their ears. Senpai is that big, said Red Kaneko. I would love for Issei to record us doing those perverted things. But before that, we need to get rid of small problems. Don't believe it, laugh. You're right, Akino, thinking about how Mio enjoys Issei's body. My Issei may not be a virgin anymore. That damn bitch may kiss him in front of us. But I still won't give up, while his power increases again. Calm down, Bucho, Gasper said, trembling. Issei-senpai, do something. Because if not, Rias-sama will do something bad. Thinking about what happened this morning when the house exploded. Again. Kiba-senpai, I hope he recovers. While he sees Kiba bandaged, new friends and old ex-friends. I heard Basachi moved from here. He said, a boy with glasses and a complexion that made him look somewhat effeminate. I think it was going to Kwa or something like that. I see then Basara down a left. That seems to be Leohart. If we move and transfer to your city and pay you a visit, you might be happy to see us, Lars said, smiling. The of you think about it and decide to do it. Meanwhile, in an apartment. Do you want to eat? Said Chisato in Basara's shirt. Yes, he said, approaching her while hugging her. You are very skillful, me said Basara, blushing. Don't worry, I'm just bothering you, he said as he leaned his head to give her a kiss on the lips. Chisato's thoughts. This situation makes us look like husband and wife, sounding very happy. Out of your mind. We look like husband and wife, right? She smiles. Maybe we won't see it like this in the future. He opened his eyes when he saw that he didn't think it, but said it. She looks at him and sees how very red he is. He clings to her more and says, I would love that. He began to unbutton his shirt while he began to kiss her. I don't need to eat, I'll just eat you. He picks her up and carries her back to the bedroom. A while later, I'm coming. I love you, said Chisato as they stood. The next day, Gremory residence. A blonde boy began training with his other friend Gasper. Since Issei-senpai arrived, we haven't had time to talk to him or apologize for what happened months ago. I know we should have told Issei-kun that Bucho and the others were seeing other guys, but we didn't. He believes that senpai will forgive us and that we will be friends again like before. Issei is a good person. I know my friend will forgive us. I hope so. Hey, what are you talking about? Oh, Saji, we're talking about Issei. About what? Well, what we hid from him months ago. I still feel bad about it. I hope you forgive me too. An hour later. Wow, this city is great. It looks so peaceful. I admit that she is somewhat quiet. I would love to live here. Hey, Leohart-san. What's happening? You told your little sister. Oh no, I didn't mention to him that I was leaving in a terrified tone. With Basara, he started to wake up. He saw, and it was in the morning. He turns around and sees that Chisato is not there. Until, I see you're awake, and I wanted to surprise you, he said as he approached the bed with breakfast. He smiled and saw that I brought him breakfast in bed. Chisato left the food and went to bed so they could both have breakfast. A little while later, it was delicious, thank you, he said, giving her a kiss. Do you want to take a bath with me, Basara, said Chisato as she took off her bra and took off her underwear as she entered the bathroom. When he saw what she was doing, he quickly went into the bathroom with her. Meanwhile, if it was hard for your sister and her entourage to accept that they are no longer engaged to Issei-kun, don't even mention it, Azazel. I heard from Gasper-kun that Rias and the other girls blew up the house along with his knight Kiba. Wow, women are dangerous when they are angry. You're so right, my friend. Another drink, please, the Mao ordered the bartender. By the way, when will the meeting be? The power Issei showed baffled me. Same to me. It reminds me of the stories my father used to read to me as a child. What stories? You don't know the story of the hero who became the god of war. Now that you mention it, his armor was similar to Issei's. Ha ha, imagine if I had a relationship with him. Ha, they both laughed. Imagine if I had the eye and hair like in the story. Ha ha ha. In that they both remember that Issei looked like this. They both spat out the beer and realized it was identical to the stories. Could it be that? Impossible, they said with a smile in denial. I think it's too late. I'm wondering the same. Goodbye. They both say goodbye. The Mao and the Fallen arrive to their worlds. Something's up, Zurzek-sama. Research everything you know about the god of war. Elsewhere. What's up, Azazel? What are you looking for? Biki'll help me search for records of the god of war. What's happening? I have reasons to believe that it is not a simple legend and is somehow related to Issei. That you've gone crazy. Think about it. You saw Issei in that armor and with different eyes and hair. And if it's not a legend, this ran through his thoughts and he remembered. He quickly joined the search with other fallen soldiers. A little while later, You can't be. They are both almost identical. Issei will be the son of. It's his son. Could it be that? Impossible, they said with a smile in denial. I think it's too late. I'm wondering the same. Goodbye, and they both say goodbye. The Mao and the Fallen One arrived at their territories. Something's up, Zurzek-sama. Research everything you know about the god of war. Elsewhere. What's up, Azazel? What are you looking for? Barakiel, help me search for the ancient records of the god of war. What's happening? I have reasons to believe that it is not a simple legend and that it is somehow related to Issei. You've gone crazy, him and the god of war. Think about it. You saw Issei in that armor and with different eyes and hair. And if it's not just a legend, in his thoughts he remembers and sees Issei in that armor. When he did so, he realized and quickly joined the search with other fallen ones. A little while later, it just can't be. They are both identical. Issei is the son of the god of war. Elsewhere. I hope you like this. He would love to see us like this. But it's a little daring. And all the things we've done are not daring. Mio-sama looks amazing. Issei will love how we look. You believe that, Maria? Hi. I'll take a souvenir photo. Elsewhere. Bucho, do you think Issei-san is following us? Loving us? Said Asia. They all listen attentively. I know we were the ones who caused our relationship to break up and hurt his heart, but he never told us that. You think that, if we don't fight, we'll never know. You're right, Issei-san. We will get his love back, and I'll take care of you, Rasada said Rias. Era, that Yuki is acting innocent. I'll enjoy tearing her to pieces with an evil smile. That Zest thinks she's stronger than me. I'll finish her off, said Ross. Kaneko and Rabel think about how that time Maria threw Issei in front of them and started kissing him. Their last straw was seeing that she and he have been doing it ever since. Asia and Xenovia only feel a little bit of hatred for Kurumi, and Irina tries not to think badly of her, because otherwise she might fall. I'm here. Where are they all? Issei goes up to his room. He sits down and just lets himself go back. I see you're tired. Hey, this one gets up and says, girls somewhat surprised by such a sight. What do you think? They all said somewhat shyly. Issei was blushing and just said, you are the most beautiful girlfriend's wives I have, he said somewhat embarrassed. They all smile and say, and you are the best boyfriend-husband in the whole world. We love you, Issei. Then they slam him onto the bed. Issei raises his face. I love you all. They hug him and just let themselves go. The next morning, the sun was beginning to rise and the light invaded the room of our protagonist, who was in the center of the bed. On his left side were Mio and Yuki together with him. To his right were Zest and Kurumi. He feels a weight on his legs. He lifts the sheet and sees Maria on top of him. Maria, what are you doing? Ha, shhhh, said Maria, moving her hips up and down. Since I saw you still had energy, I took advantage of the moment, so keep quiet and let me do the work. She goes up and takes this one's lips. Me too, let's do it together. Kiss me, said Maria. I'm coming, they both said while kissing. Maria, Mai-sama, what are you doing? I saw that Issei was a little lacking in energy, and felt it was my duty as his girlfriend to calm his anxieties, he said looking at her, while Issei gasped with pleasure and tiredness. A little while later, get ready because tomorrow we go to school, said Issei. Thanks to Sona Citri Zest, she will be the new nurse. Maria and Kurumi will enter first year. Mio, Yuki and I are in 3rd grade. Remember not to draw attention to yourself. Hi, they all said happily. What do you think if we all go to the supermarket together to buy food? And then leave the house. The girls check to see if there are no Moors on the coast. They are referring to the Gremories, and when they see that there are not, they continue on their way happily. A few minutes later, the of them were looking at what they were buying. They couldn't see in front of them, when suddenly they saw and had collided with another cart. Sorry, we didn't notice. Ha, it's you, said the girls when they saw who they collided with. So Rosita and her group are coming here too, said Rias, looking superior. Hey, Redhead and her group. I get the impression that they followed us, said Mio. Both groups look at each other challengingly, until, hey girls, I found what you were looking for. Issei stopped dead in his tracks when he saw that he was in the middle of both groups. Issei-kun, Saint Senpai, said Saji Gasper and Kiba approaching. Basachi, he looks back and sees Lars, Leohart, and the vampire boy. This couldn't be weirder. He sees the girls who seem to be looking at each other with a desire to fight, and on the other side, his friends and old friends. Academic home. No multiple female screams. What have we done? I see. In that you see how Issei walks after that deadly attack he received. They were all shocked to see him in such a state. They're fine, he said, his voice trailing off. Thank goodness they're not hurt, he said, smiling as blood trickled from his head. Multiple internal wounds caused a lot of damage, causing him to lose consciousness and fall back, badly injured. This is about to fall but is stopped by Chisato. She was in her divine mode looking at everyone with a very serious look. They've gone too far in this dispute. She picks him up and walks away, leaving everyone crying. Weeks before, Issei and company already had everything prepared for their academic return. While things weren't bad the previous year, this year is even less so. Multiple lightning bolts surrounded the room. In front of that room, there was a large bed, and if that were not enough, the sun's rays hit a chestnut tree. It slowly opened its eyes, and as it turned around it was able to smile, because on its chest lay its perverted succubus wife asleep. On its left arm was Yuki, and on its right was mine, Zest, and Yuki's younger sister elsewhere. He smiled knowing that every morning was like this, and it really didn't bother him at all. If it were up to him, he and they would spend all day making love. For them, making love meant not just physical contact, but also the unification of their minds, souls, and hearts. It's strange to put it that way, but the love he had for them was enormous, and he would die for them at any time if necessary or give his heart for them. Issei or Basara, they were the same and loved their wives with all their hearts. Girls wake up, said Issei, giving kisses on each one's forehead. Feeling the warmth of their husband, they smiled and slowly opened their eyes. Good morning, dear, said Mio, giving him a kiss on the lips. Whether it sounds bad or not, that kiss got deeper and deeper, and as the seconds passed, Issei began to get aroused. He knew what my intention was, especially because the day before, he'd discovered that across the street, exactly the mansion where he used to live, his mistress's members and staff had been spying on him through their relatives. Asia, Rias, Aquino, and the others almost always saw what they were doing, and the day before, I proved it when I seduced Issei in the kitchen with an apron she wore. So Zest, Yuki, and the others went out for an hour. What better time to seduce your man than wearing only a kitchen apron? And that's all he had. The best part was when it pounced on her. Mio looked out the window and saw a bat. So I pretended I didn't see him and just walked with him, even though they were kissing. They walked awkwardly until you reached the living room and throw him on the carpet. Mio smiled and made some fire in his hand and threw it into the fireplace, while she slowly slid down, removing all of her man's clothes. I looked and saw that the little redhead's relative was still there. That's what Mio called Rias. She smiled elegantly at the relative, and at that moment, the lovemaking of the two spouses began. And right there, they both felt a great wave of power gush towards them. He only felt the surge of power, and deduced that they had all exploded in anger, and there his suspicions were confirmed. Those cats were still mad because Issei beat them, and now he's having a great time. Even though Issei made them promise not to compromise his feelings for them, much less to let themselves get carried away and do anything foolish. Like the time they first met, and there was almost a full-blown battle between his mistress's entourage and his team of girlfriends or wives. But he didn't mention anything about accidentally provoking them, although there was no need to do anything. As they burst in to spy on them, only she lets herself be carried away by her impulse and her great love for her husband. If you asked me, I'm not the bad guy in the story. Issei showed me every memory, even though I wanted to know the truth about how his entire story with her happened, to the point where he was still hurt by how he ended them all. Like when they blatantly said they were seeing other people behind his back and that not even his supposed best friend told him that. Even though he knew and hadn't been threatened, he didn't say anything and fell for it. I have the right to impose my will, even though I accept others in this relationship. I know my husband has already overcome those feelings, I'm sure of it, but about them, they just want it because they can have it, and that is selfishness. Fin POV. Issei was taking a bath alone, while Mio and the others were making breakfast. Girls, we need to talk. What's up, my friend? Something happened. And it turns out that those women want to get involved with Issei, said Mio, pointing to the other side of the neighborhood. We must do something, said Yuki would be. The point here is that he made us promise not to fight them. What should we do, Mai-sama? Maria said, thinking, until they all smile and say, never leave our man alone with those cats. They laughed maliciously.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.